I want to start by asking you something that might shake your foundations. Is Satan one being, or is Satan a kingdom? You've grown up hearing about the devil as if it's one entity, one fallen angel with a pitchfork. But what if that's a catastrophic misunderstanding? What if Satan is not a name, but a title? What if it describes an entire organized adversarial structure? Well, that's what we're going to explore, and I'm going to give you 7 clear takeaways from the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Enoch, and the canonical scriptures that will reframe everything you thought you knew. Matthew 10:1 tells us that Jesus called his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits, to cast them out, to heal sickness, to confront the invisible. That's not symbolic, that's operational. He handed them power over a real hostile spiritual order. And here's the thing, if you're a believer, that authority was extended to you. But you have to understand what you're up against. You can't fight what you don't see. You can't bind what you don't name. The disciples weren't given a motivational speech, they were given a weapon. And so the question becomes, are you using it? In Matthew 12, the Pharisees accused Jesus of casting out demons by the power of Beelzebul, the prince of demons. And Jesus responds with devastating logic. If Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand? Notice that word, kingdom. Not how will he stand, but how will his kingdom stand? Jesus is acknowledging a structure, a hierarchy, a coordinated system of opposition. This isn't chaos. This is organized evil. And that means it has rules, ranks, and a chain of command. If you don't understand that, you'll keep thinking your problems are random. They're not. Jesus gives us a metaphor in Matthew 12:29. How can one enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man? This is tactical. You don't walk into enemy territory without neutralizing the guard. And here's the practical takeaway. When you pray, do you bind the strong man? Do you say, Father, bind this spirit, bind this influence, bind this Nephilim entity that's oppressing me? Or do you just say, God, help me? Because one is a strategy, the other is a wish. Prayer is your weapon. Use it precisely. Matthew 12:43-45 warns us, when an unclean spirit leaves a man, it wanders through dry places seeking rest. Finding none, it says, I will return to my house. And when it returns and finds the house swept, empty, and in order, it brings 7 more spirits worse than itself. Pay attention to this. Cleaning up your life makes you a target. Getting sober, getting disciplined, getting spiritually aligned, those are good things, but they're not enough. You have to fill the house. You have to occupy the territory. The Book of Jubilees and the Book of Enoch give us a framework that the canonical Bible hints at but doesn't fully unpack. Demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, the giant hybrid offspring of the Watchers and human women. When the flood destroyed their bodies, their spirits had nowhere to go. They weren't created by God, so they couldn't return to him. In Mark 5, we see this vividly. A man possessed by a spirit named Legion, because there were many, begs Jesus not to send them out of the region. They'd rather inhabit pigs than be homeless. And when they enter the pigs, the animals go mad and drown themselves. Why? Because animals don't have the spiritual resistance humans do. Demons destabilize whatever they inhabit. Deuteronomy 32:8 tells us that when the Most High divided the nations, he set their boundaries according to the number of the sons of God, 70 angels over 70 nations. But Jacob, Israel, was the Lord's portion. He kept one nation for himself. The rest? They were given to angelic princes, and those princes were worshipped as gods: Zeus, Apollo, Osiris, Baal, Moloch. In Daniel 10, we see this play out. An angel tells Daniel he was delayed 21 days because the prince of Persia withstood him. Not a human prince, an angelic principality. Michael, the archangel, had to intervene. This is the reality Paul is talking about in Ephesians 6. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness. In Daniel 2, Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a statue, gold, silver, bronze, iron, and finally feet of iron mixed with clay. Daniel interprets, "They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another." Who is they? The text doesn't say human kings. It says they, implying a non-human element, mingling with humanity. This is the final kingdom. This is the hybrid empire. And if you think that's ancient history, look around. We are watching the stage being set. A global system, a singular authority, a mingling of the seed. The Nephilim are coming back, or perhaps they never left. And the question is, are you prepared? Are your walls up? Are you worshiping in spirit and in truth? Because the war is not coming, it's here. So here's where we land. Satan is not one being. Satan is a kingdom, a coordinated, hierarchical, territorial system of adversaries led by fallen angels and populated by disembodied Nephilim. You are not fighting random thoughts or bad luck. You are in a war, and the weapons of that war are spiritual: prayer, the word, the armor of God, and the authority given to you by Jesus Christ. Worship the Most High in spirit. Pray without ceasing. Guard your gates. Fill your house. And remember, you are not alone. The Prince of Peace stands with you. Now go and stand firm.
Join me as I dive deep into Scripture to paint a picture of what Satan's kingdom really looks like. The concept of Satan's kingdom is often misunderstood, but it's crucial in understanding spiritual warfare. Scripture depicts Satan's kingdom as a real, spiritual realm that opposes God's kingdom. It's essential to grasp this concept to navigate the complexities of good and evil. Many people view Satan's kingdom as a physical place, like a literal kingdom with a throne and subjects. However, Scripture reveals that it's a spiritual realm that operates in the hearts of people, influencing their thoughts, actions, and decisions. This misunderstanding can lead to a lack of awareness about the spiritual forces at work in our lives. Another misconception is that Satan's kingdom is equal in power to God's kingdom. However, Scripture clearly states that God's kingdom is the ultimate authority, and Satan's kingdom is a counterfeit that will eventually be defeated. Satan's tactics are often subtle, masquerading as good or neutral, but ultimately leading people away from God. Scripture warns us that Satan's kingdom is characterized by lies, deception, and rebellion against God. The Bible describes Satan as the ruler of the kingdom of darkness, and his tactics include tempting people with worldly desires, pride, and power. In Ephesians 6, we're told to put on the armor of God to stand against the schemes of the devil. One of the most striking insights about Satan's kingdom is that it's not just about evil, but also about the absence of God's presence. Scripture reveals that Satan's kingdom is a kingdom of self, where individuals prioritize their own desires and interests above God's will. In Matthew 6, Jesus teaches us to pray, "Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven." This prayer is a powerful declaration of God's authority over Satan's kingdom. understanding Satan's kingdom is crucial for spiritual growth, as it helps us recognize the spiritual forces at work in our lives and the world around us. By acknowledging the reality of Satan's kingdom, we can better navigate the complexities of good and evil. If you have any thoughts about Satan's kingdom, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. If you're interested in exploring more about spiritual topics, I recommend checking out my video on the 3 realms of spiritual warfare.
Coloring Book for Kids, Volume 2. Available August 15, 2025 on Amazon. The Bible Lions Coloring Book for Children. Color 30 fun designs of inspirational verses and Christian artwork. A beautiful children's coloring book designed to fill your child's mind with the positive words of God's love. The Bible Lions Coloring Book for Kids was designed to be a fun, yet effective way to help children calm their tension. Hand-lettered quotes and adorable hand-designed illustrations will inspire your child as they reflect on God's promises.